Hello, everybody. My name is Sung Paik. I'm with Data QI, and I'm the Vice President of AI North America and also the Field CTO. Today, I'm going to share with you how we're helping manufacturers with real-world use cases leveraging AI as a technology. And so what I wanted to share with you is that our philosophy is really based upon outcomes. And I'm sure you've heard that from other folks, but we truly believe that as well. And one of my catchphrases is prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. Really what I'm trying to say is we don't want to talk with customers and tell them what to do. We want to talk with them and understand what their needs are and then be able to help them solve for those things. And that definitely goes for AI. What I'll do is give you a little primer here that really resonates with our manufacturing customers. And by the way, we do serve other verticals, but one of the areas we're really good at is manufacturing. And you've probably already seen this MIT report came out a couple months ago. It's being quoted everywhere about these 95% of generative AI projects failing. But why is that? And then I ask another question. Why is it that 5% are succeeding? We really need to understand that because you guys have companies or clients that want to make sure to leverage this to its utmost ability. The reality is that if you look there around misaligned focus, one of the aspects of this is trying to do too much too soon. And so they go after the shiny projects that sound fantastical but are quite complicated and entailed and involved to try to execute well on. In fact, the back office use cases we find in working with customers are the ones to quickly be able to solve for. And so that's one aspect of it. The other issue is a learning gap. You have your customers, our customers, they've tried to do it internally from an IT perspective. And some of them have some traction, some of them don't. What they've realized quickly is they're not software companies. They don't have dedicated resources to be able to focus on this like we do. We focus on this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're learning, we're implementing, we're failing, we're improving, all those types of things. And that's reflected in our products and solutions as well as our professional services. And the other issue is that it's almost a misperception, if you will, really regarding the successes. It's not necessarily the issues with the language models, but how to leverage it properly in the context of the entire technology stack. The final aspect of this that was revealed in that MIT report study is that the successes were heavily attributed to the fact that customers work with specialized vendors, whether that's from a vertical like we do, but also technology experts like we are. And so that really rang true for us in reading that, and it reflects how we engage customers. And what customers really appreciate about our engagement is we help them understand, well, what's available out there, because we're not necessarily married to any one particular set of tech stack or with regards to language models or other technologies, but we also help them understand, well, what are the alternatives out there, the pros and cons. And so one of the aspects is looking at these conversational generative AI platforms and helping them understand what is the scope of what they can do and what they don't do. Because really the reality is, depending upon the use cases, generative AI may help, it may not be appropriate. And maybe something a little bit down the line, a little further downstream that could actually apply there. And so when we work with manufacturers, the question we like to ask is, what does great look like for you? Forget about technology, forget necessarily about approaches. What do you want to happen? Well, this is typically what it comes down to. It's they want to see more about what's going on in their production plants. They want to see if their machines are operating at high capacity, if they're getting maximum yield in their production lines, right? In order to do that, there's certain things that need to be done. They want to know more, meaning if something's going on with a particular machine or a set of machines or production line and there's error codes popping up, well, what does that mean? The reality is manufacturers have a very big challenge trying to keep and retain talent. And so when you actually have new hires that are of a younger generation, not as much knowledge, they need to get up to speed quickly. They don't necessarily have the decades of knowledge. So knowing more is being able to have conversations with your systems and documents to be able to get the answers to those error codes and how to resolve them. And then do more is being able to make sure that you can create efficiencies in your processes that may exist already, maybe very manual. Is there a way to be able to help digitize those and create efficiencies there? So that's exactly why we created our AI platform, DataQI. DataQI was built specifically because of those customer pains. And you hear about startups, et cetera. The reality is that the ones that succeed are the ones that solve customer pains, have business issues that we have solutions for. That's why we created Insights, so we connect and help companies see more by connecting to their machines, gathering that data, running the analytics, and letting them know if they're efficient, optimized, and yielding in a most maximum way. The assistants, we use language models. We use certain techniques like RAG, retrieval augmented generation. We have other IP that we use to be able to contextualize the queries from the users and help them get to the right information very quickly and efficiently. Agents, we have agents specific to the complex tasks at manufacturers. One good example is being able to go from a sales call to knowing if you can deliver from a production capacity perspective and the implications on inventory and supply chain. That is a very complex process in manufacturers. We've actually built that all out in workflows, agentic workflows, so that can be optimized there and run autonomously. However, super important, you got to make sure to keep human in the loop. Meaning you're going to make sure that the humans are being able to check and validate, is this right? Is this real? But it saved them so much time from having to do it manually and actually going and calling up people, et cetera. That's how we've built this platform to solve for the major challenges and pains in manufacturers. And so just to give you a little bit of visibility into what this looks like, you can see on a day-to-day basis, what is that experience? You have Insights here, the first of the 3 modules that we have for our platform, that gives them a dashboard about what's going on. It's just a status check. Hey, is everything fine, or are there some anomalies and some errors? Let's drill down into that. We can show them also a visual factory and being able to see their machines, and then the metrics in which they're operating, and make sure everything's within tolerance and everything's within yield parameters. We also provide computer vision and AI. As an example, I'll drill into that a little bit. We work with firms leveraging computer vision, and as you can see here, we leverage cameras to analyze the entire assembly process for this axle. This axle goes onto bins that this company sells. There's a big old bins that actually bring around, you could take towels or whatever you want to put in those bins or factory settings. But these axles need to be assembled in a certain period of time, and they're expecting a certain number of the finished products. What we helped this company find out is that there was some inefficiencies in the assembly because the tolerances for some of the parts were too tight, and therefore the operator there couldn't actually get them on in a very efficient time. So then they realized, hey, we need to increase or decrease the tolerance there to give a little bit more room, right, from an engineering standard perspective, and then now it was a more efficient process. This is something you can't do necessarily and have some observer there 24/7 on all the shifts. So leveraging computer vision in this way is a super way to actually create efficiencies. And now Assistant here is really be able to have conversations with that data. All that data I just showed you from that computer vision scenario, as well as getting the data from the machinery and the different devices, you can have conversations with that. Hey, how efficient was the actual assembly process yesterday? Was it meeting our goals of 75% or 75 units? Was it within tolerance? How can we make it more efficient? This is a way to leverage generative AI in a way that is very specific to the manufacturer's needs. And you can actually have conversations with your documentation, whether that's product manuals, with error codes, etc. And then rounding this out here, agent, this is where we're having those complex workflows built out to be able to help you create efficiencies in your process, but always keeping human in the loop. So what's the journey and also the blueprint? We recognize that this may be new for many or all of you guys. And so we want to meet you where you are. If you're early in the process, we'll help you there, understand what use cases are relevant. And then as you mature and progress, we have ways to help you from a data assessment perspective, AI assessment perspective, and then we can help you guide you where the Data QI platform or other areas are best suited for you. And just to round it out here as we make time, we have a special gift for you. This is actually a tailored AI initiatives and use cases report we generate using AI. And so we're able to create this, and it's customized to your company and your industry and your SWOT analysis. And so this is a service we provide complimentary. This would cost you $100,000 if you hired a consulting firm to do this. So as a customer, as a prospective customer, as a good person, if you want to be able to leverage this, come by and see us at the F3 booth there. And then the services we have and the customers we've served. And then finally, visit us at booth 58. Thanks so much for your time.